Hello, and I welcome all of you to this coaching call number 47. In this coaching call, we will be revising the stakeholder engagement domain, its key words, including the exam content outline, and at the end, we will solve some questions on this domain. So, starting with the initial step, the first step of the stakeholder engagement is to do stakeholder identification. In this step, the program manager is responsible to conduct this activity like all the other activities. He will identify the stakeholders using various techniques, can be brainstorming, focus group, questionnaires, surveys, anything what he will do to identify the stakeholders. Then he will document it in a stakeholder register. So it means that stakeholder register will contain all the list of the initial stakeholders that you have identified. Then in the second step, we will do stakeholder analysis. Stakeholder analysis means using different techniques, for example, power interest grid, stakeholder map, to analyze the characteristics of the stakeholders, most importantly, their power and their interest. If we are talking about only two dimensions, then the answer will be the stakeholder, the power interest grid, in which we are analyzing who has high power, low power, high interest, so on and so forth. Once this stakeholder analysis will be done, we will get the updated stakeholder register that will have the same stakeholders that we identified in the beginning, but now they will be in a sorted order. They will have different priorities, different set of more detailed things like we saw on the slides. We will have the Excel table, we will have the name, we will have the role, position, their impact, their influence. Whatever analysis we will do, we will have the updated stakeholder register in our with us at the end of the stakeholder analysis. Jay Prakash, welcome. Can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah. Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, so we just started about the stakeholders. Okay.
Okay.
And then once we have analyzed the stakeholders, the next step is to do stakeholder engagement planning. At the end of this step, I will get stakeholder engagement plan that will actually tell me how am I going to engage my stakeholders. The stakeholder engagement plan contains a lot of information about the overall requirements of the stakeholders, including the communication that is required by the stakeholders will also be engaged, put in the stakeholder engagement plan. One thing to mention here is that we will do this question in the exam, in the questions also. At the program level, we are not making any communication plan till now. Clear? Till now, we have not made any stakeholder, we have not made any communication plan. We only have, at this moment, I only have business case, charter, roadmap, then I have benefit register, I have benefits management plan, and now I have stakeholder engagement plan. Right? These are my five main documents that I have made till now in all the four domains. And today in the governance, we will make program governance plan. So principally from the understanding point of view, we are not making the communication management plan in the PgMP. But once we did the activities in chapter number 7, we had the magic grid. In that, we had different management plans that we prepared. That was scope management plan, schedule, cost baseline and cost financial framework, and quality management plan, communication management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, information and change management plan. That management plans will come in chapter number 8, agreed, but they all sum up to give me the program management plan. That is at the program level. Okay. For all the other things like in PMP, when you were working on the project, we made all these knowledge areas had the management plan. Okay. At that moment, it was directly working at the project level. Are you getting my point? In PMP, it was the project level. It had the knowledge areas and all the subsidiary plans were accompanying to give me the project management plan. In the PMP, in the performance domains, I am not making these individual plans, but as a part of the activity to complete my program management plan, I am working on this thing. Okay. And secondly, whenever stakeholder will see that I am not getting any information or something is not being sent to him, the first document that we should review is the stakeholder engagement plan. Okay. In eco also, if he says that how you will how you will communicate to the stakeholder, that is the communication management plan in general. How you will communicate is the communication management plan, no question on that. But if some stakeholder has some problem, a stakeholder is concerned about some critical information not being conveyed to him, or he is not getting the required information that is required to be done, or if the important stakeholder like steering committee, he will say that he is not getting the right documents at the right time. So in that case, my point of concern, my point of contact can only be the stakeholder engagement plan. Clear to everyone? Okay. When we do the question, I will remind you this topic, but this is very important to understand in this moment. We are doing stakeholder engagement, we are doing stakeholder communication, but the document I have is only stakeholder engagement plan till now. Yes, Pradeep?
Yeah, I have one question on the beginning, like risk register, right?
Uh-huh.
So that register contains stakeholder register I'm talking.
Okay.
So that register is made in formulation phase, right?
Yes.
So is that available in the business case and we are just taking those names, or we are utilizing business case and developing the stakeholder register?
Okay. The key stakeholders were in the program charter. If you see, you are able to see my screen. Program charter had the key stakeholders. Okay.
Mhm.
But at this moment, there was only, like, I have high level benefits here also. This is only the starting point of my program, initiating of the program. But when I'm talking about the benefits itself, it is in the benefit register, right? So similarly, with the key stakeholders, program manager is identifying through different sources. And surely one of their sources is business case and charter. Plus, he talking to another stakeholders to ask, okay, what other stakeholders can be part of my program. Then he will develop the specific document, which is a stakeholder register that will have all the characteristics and the detailed information about that stakeholder, about all the stakeholders.
But the downstream team may not be visible at the upstream, is what I'm saying.
Sorry, repeat.
The downstream team, which is like in the planning phase, we will identify all the other team members and other program managers, right? Project manager, right?
Yes.
So those cannot be identified in the beginning, right?
No, that's why at every step we said that stakeholder register is a dynamic document. With the passage of time, you can add more and more stakeholders. It's not that only the stakeholders are identified in the program formulation phase. With the passage of time, you can find more stakeholders and you can again put it in. But at least before you go to the program delivery phase, when you will start the components, surely it will be initiated here, and here you will have the project charter or the component charter. They will authorize the program project manager. But in the beginning, at this moment, you will have some idea of how many stakeholders will be there. But the detailed proper information will come later on, and that will have the updated stakeholder register.
So let's say we have a question like, when stakeholder register is formed, is that formulation phase and stakeholder identification phase?
Yes, that is in the stakeholder register. That is your starting point.
Okay, so that's what we should say first,
Yes,
and
yes.
then we will elaborate.
Yes, same like here in which phase you will prepare the benefit register. Answer is the benefits identification phase, and surely in next phases in every state it will be updated. But when it is initiated, that will can only be the question. He will not ask you in this phase in which phase will you update the stakeholder register. That is in every step, in every phase. But initiating is coming in the program formulation subphase.
Okay.
Okay. Then we are coming. If this is clear, okay. Then we prepare the stakeholder engagement plan. Then we are doing stakeholder engagement throughout my program lifecycle and stakeholder communication throughout my program lifecycle, which means I am keeping my stakeholder engaged and communicated in order to get their support and buy-in throughout my program. And then whenever you're in general, whenever he will say you that the stakeholder key stakeholders have identified and they are not participating in some meetings or something like that, so in that case what will you do? You have to first try to contact them yourself, try to engage them, try to call them, go to their office. But if still they are not responding to you, then you will escalate to the program steering committee. And in the meanwhile, when you are communicating with them, trying to engage them, you are actually fostering the relationships with them. You are developing the relationship with them. In our real life also, if I know the stakeholder personally, I can better communicate with you. If I don't know who is Mr. Pradeep, he is a general thing. It's very difficult to communicate other than if I have a good relationship and I know you very well. So developing and fostering the stakeholder relationship is very easy. This is also our domain for task 7, in which he says, let me show you this thing. Develop and this management stakeholder. Develop and foster relationships with stakeholders, including sponsors, in order to improve communication and enhance their support for the program. Okay, so here this fostering relationship is not a negative word. It is appreciated by PMI just to improve the communication with their support. For example, if you are my student, I am better communicating with you rather than a person who is not a student. Okay, because we have developed a relationship with among each other of a teacher and a student. So same is like that. If the sponsor, the stakeholder is not responding to you, maybe he doesn't know you personally, or he doesn't know what is the interest in the program. Okay, so you always try to develop and foster relationships with the stakeholders that will help you to engage the stakeholders and ultimately get you their support and buy-in for the program. And then, yes, Amaya.
Sorry, I had a query. So in the examination, if in the similar lines, if there is an option of program governance board, or like to whom you will escalate first, to the
Hmm.
program governance board to or to the program steering committee, what should be the correct option?
Actually, both are the synonyms to each other. But if in case if the tone is talking about the governance, okay, then you give program governance board. Okay, but principally he will not ask you. He should not give you governance board and steering committee as the different options. Either he will give you program governance board and program sponsor. This is possible, or he will say you program steering committee or the program sponsor. In that case, steering committee and the governance board is the correct answer, not the sponsor. If you have to escalate something, but if you have to communicate something, we will see about the communication channels. We remember in PMP we had n into n minus 1 by 2. These are the communication channels one to one the person has. In that perspective, only in that perspective, sponsor is a one person, program manager is one person, client is one person, and compromise manager can be one to, they are the quantitative figures. So in order to establish the communication channel, in that case, sponsor will be the good answer, because steering committee is an entity. Inside the steering committee, we'll have two, three, four persons. Okay, we will go into detail in today, but from the conceptual point of view, from the broad perspective, if you're talking about how many communication channels are there with the steering committee, okay, in general can be one, but if you have four people inside the govern in the steering committee and they are not sitting together with each other, so you send only one email or you will send four emails? You have to send the email to four people, right? Agree with me? Mr. Pradeep, can you unmute? Because this was a question. I will go into detail further, but just to have the overview.
No, I
Now,
think that's a good question he raised. I had the same issue
yes,
whether to choose governance or steering. And if
the
you look at it, sponsor is involved in the steering committee. So
yes,
you cannot choose sponsor also.
yeah, that is okay. I'm talking about the communication channel. For example, there are four members in your steering committee, and you have to send the email. So whether you will send to four people or one people,
I
why
would
you?
say four because
Yeah,
I
because
want to
these are
make sure everybody gets
everybody
to.
gets it. That is the steering committee. But if I say you have to send the email to your sponsor, so you will send only to one person. So the communication
Yes.
channel is one to one. Okay, at this moment only we focus on this thing, but steering committee and governance board is same, only sponsor is different than sponsor and the from the governance board and the steering committee. Okay,
But is sponsor inside steering committee? Yes or no?
95% yes and maybe no, because
Okay.
in PMI he never says that sponsor must be a member of the steering committee. In general principle, yes, and I told you that time also, sponsor 90% of time will be the head or the chairman of the steering committee. This is also 90% possible. but it is not necessary that steering committee is contains your sponsor. For example, if in my project, in my own project, the financing is coming from the World Bank, okay, so he is my program sponsor. But whenever World Bank is your thing, maybe in the steering committee, World Bank is not the member, because they assign their consultants, they assign their technical engineers, okay. Company number one, MWH, number two, NASPA 3 4, these are your steering committee members. So in this case, sponsor is not part of your steering committee member, is not your steering committee member. Agree?
Yeah, in my case is also same thing. Our CFO is the sponsor,
Okay,
but he doesn't sit in steering committee.
because maybe he's not
But
technical.
we had to take his approval to go no go decision.
Right,
So
right,
he's involved in a way
right.
steering committee.
Right. But how you how you form the committee is not mandatory that sponsor will be there. It's not mandatory. That is the answer.
Okay.
Yes, Jayaprakash.
So what is the conclusion? Suppose if any decision is required beyond the program manager,
Hmm.
we can escalate to steering committee or governance board. Suppose if the option is they are given both steering committee or governance board, which is the correct answer? Either steering committee or governance board.
Go to
Because the
governance
mark
board. Go
governance
to
board, right?
go to governance board.
Uh-huh.
Maybe only
Okay,
one
and another
question in the mock. We will.
okay.
I will change this option. I will convert to steering committee slash governor boards will be one option, and other option will be steering committee. That is the feedback I need from all of you, because this mocks question that we have developed is we are improving based on the feedback from all of you. Okay. So whenever you find some
Okay, it
questions which
means,
are not clear, please
uh,
give me
it,
the feedback.
okay, it means the correct answer is governance board, right?
Yes.
Okay, at the same time, there is another question I face in the mock examination.
Hmm.
One of the friend, actually, governance board itself, he is referring one project manager to appoint during the interview.
Hmm.
Okay, as a program manager, what you should do. So there are a lot of options. One option given the right answer, escalate to governance board. This is I have some dispute actually. The governance board itself is recommending. Then again we are escalating governance board. How it will solve the problem?
Okay. At the end, please send me this question. Then we will share this. Then we will solve this question. Okay. Send me
Okay,
this
okay,
question. Then I will share. Send me
okay,
on.
right.
Okay. Good. Okay. So this is the complete summary and overview from how we are communicating, how we are coordinating inside the stakeholder domain. Then we come to the keywords. Now that is the essence of this coaching calls. That if you will, that I told you, if you will study your book maybe 20 times, you will not be able to give the correct answer, because the solving the correct answer, giving the correct answer is completely different from reading the concept. Okay. So how you understand the scenarios, that is the key point of all PMI examinations. Okay. Stakeholder engagement rather than stakeholder management. Beyond the communication aspect, stakeholder engagement concerns the negotiation of objectives, agreement on desired benefits, commitment to resources, and ongoing support throughout the program. Two-way communication should be there, not one-way communication, and all the benefits should be delivered in accordance with the program charter or the business case, whatever is the option there. But key high level benefits are were in the charter, so here he has written program charter. And at the end of the thing, when something has been delivered, you have to verify, as we saw in the benefits management plan, should be compared with the objective mentioned in the business case, because that was a document that initiated or provided justification why the program was initiated. Then we saw about the program manager is equal to responsible. He's the champion for the change. He understands all the motivations. He is a person who is communicating with the client, sponsored, component managers. Whenever he finds something is not going fine, he will do periodic health checks. And whenever he finds something needs a decision, he will escalate the issue to the program steering committee, or more specifically program governance board, if when we will see in the governance chapter today. Program stakeholder identification, we will get the stakeholder register, which will have which will contain the lists of stakeholders, categorize their relationship to the program, ability to influence the program outcome, other characteristics or attributes, Program team will use it for reporting, distributing program deliverables, and providing formal and informal communication. So at this moment, communication information is also coming from the stakeholder register, because it is telling me what is the requirement of each stakeholders. I have given the characteristics of each of the stakeholders. It contains politically and legally sensitive information. This is a document which is not a public document out of business benefit register, stakeholder register, and the risk register. It has to be properly secured, and this has to be updated by the program manager time to time. Whenever he will find a new stakeholders, he will put it into it. One important question or concept to understand here is that you are a program manager working on the program, okay, and he will say you that a media is giving a negative coverage of your program. As a program manager, what should be your response? What should you do? First is to get panic. Okay, my name is coming on the media. The other thing is that first you have to review and leak into your stakeholder register whether this entity is my stakeholder or not. Then only I should be concerned about that. Okay, so same is the case if you if a point of if there is a risk. For example, he said that you are a program manager of a program in USA and there was a big earthquake in China that killed 100 people, for example. What should you do? Well, you
Do
should
nothing.
review,
Ignore it.
ignore it, or what the problem is, look into the risk register whether the risk is your this whether this is your risk or not. Okay, and then at this moment, like Mr. Zim said, do nothing, ignore it. But that will be the second step. First we have to see what is the impact on my program. So same is with the media option. You should not panic and create a risk response strategy to how to tackle the media, because same is the case here. Whenever program manager is doing into that, first thing is to look into the stakeholder register, because these are already identified and characterized stakeholders. Same is with the risk, same is with the benefit. Clear? Because in the application he asks you to write some opportunities and threats, or the risk in governance is the topic. Okay, so you should only write the threats and opportunities that are directly impacted your program. Okay, like in the COVID case, for example, the best example, same COVID pandemic was a threat to 99% of the people. Somebody lost a job, somebody lost a family member, somebody lost this. But 1% took it as an opportunity and they expanded their business. Like all the online applications, Zoom, Skype. Then we come to the protection of the face mask. Okay, sanitizers. We never use the sanitizer in our whole 35 years of life, but that in that year we used maybe $100 of sanitizer. Face mask, nobody knew it. What is a face mask? So this you have to see whatever is the issue or the risk, whether I take it's an opportunity for me or it's a threat for me. Okay, so same is with the risk, same is with the stakeholder. Yes,
China
please.
is majority. China is using this as opportunity, right? Chinese
But they
people.
are, yeah, but they also face a threat. They started from there, and then so the point is that in our real life also we cannot only see the negative impact. We also look at the positive side. Okay, so they had the negative thing, and then they took the opportunity of that, and they developed the face mask. Now, if you see in everywhere, the face mask is now of 2 cents, and nobody is buying that. And same face mask in 2021 was $5, and still everybody was buying that. And at this now it's 2 cents, but still nobody is buying that. So that is a demand and supply concept. Okay, so that is actually the risk. Okay, good. Then we have program sponsor. He provides the resources and support for the program and is accountable for enabling the success. And just as Mr. Pradeep said, sponsor from the conceptual point of view of PMI is a single person. Okay, sponsor cannot be anything. Okay, we have to write particular thing stakeholder as a sponsor. He's a champion for the program. He secures funding, enables the delivery of benefits, remove barriers, and decision-making authority is with the steering committee or the governance board. If in case steering committee is not the option, program manager, project manager, program team members, and the program sponsor. In that case, the responsibility of the decision is with the sponsor, because he is the highest power person. Then we look into the steering committee. It provides guidance, endorsements, and approvals through governance practices, responsible for defining and implementing appropriate governance practices, provide capable governance resources, oversight, monitoring, and leadership, decision making is established in the program governance plan, that we will see up to which level, up to which authority program manager can do something, and up to which above this it has to be escalated to the steering committee. Project manager is only responsible for his components. His life cycle is only the program delivery phase in my program for any component manager of the program or the project manager. Program team members are the individuals performing the program activities, and PMO has a supportive role, which is providing me the standardized processes, sharing the resources, centralized support, and facilitates the governance practices. Customer use the new capabilities and drive the anticipated benefit, and they will influence whether the program is successful or not. And regulatory agencies are those that set the mandatory standards or the requirements. Only one thing I want to show you because I found very interesting today. Uh, okay, once we go there, I will show you. We have one term is program management team. Okay, program management team is a common word that contains who is in the program management team, complete team.
So the program management team will uh, consist of component managers, program
Mhm.
managers, then we'll uh, we'll also have the risk managers, as well as it will also comprise of the sponsor.
Yes, so everybody who is part of the program is a program management team.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we continue, then I will show you this list again. Okay. Then we had did program stakeholder analysis. You can see my screen. Everybody can see my screen again. Okay. Program stakeholder analysis, we use power interest grid, and we use the stakeholder map in order to identify the characteristics of the stakeholders, what are their requirements, to whom I have to give what importance, to whom I have to convey when and what information. Power interest grid groups the stakeholders based on the level of authority and level of concern. An overall stakeholder register and the prioritization of the stakeholder engagement activities should be regularly reviewed and updated as the work progresses because it's a dynamic document. Then we saw stakeholder map. It visually represents the interaction of all stakeholders, current and desired support and influence, assess the impact of a change on the community, takes into account their interest, influence, and involvement, needs for interactions, partnerships, and reminds of which stakeholders need to be engaged in the various times in the program lifecycle. Then we made the program stakeholder engagement plan, and one important thing here, the following aspects for each stakeholders are considered in the stakeholder engagement plan: organizational culture and acceptance of change, attitudes about the program and its sponsors, relevant phases applicable to stakeholder specific engagement, expectation of program benefits delivery, degree of support or opposition to the program benefits, ability to influence the program outcome. These six are the things that are written in the standard. If in the exam he will give you the thing ability to influence the program outcomes, comma, legal requirements, then this option is wrong. So as I told you, whenever you look for the answers, look for the complete sentence, not only few parts. We will do one question today. Okay. Then we have attitudes about the program and the sponsor, comma, he says some other, for example, about the community. That is not correct. Yes, Jayaprakash.
So what's the meaning of expectation of program benefits delivery? How it is playing stakeholder engagement planning?
Expectations of the program benefit delivery, how you want the program benefits to be delivered, and what is the expectation of the stakeholders.
Oh, this is the stakeholder expectation of program benefit delivery, right?
The expectation of the stakeholder about the program delivery, Expectation of,
Expectation of the stakeholder about the program delivery.
yes, yes. So I wrote a
That's clear.
shortcut. It is actually expectation of the stakeholder about the program benefits delivery.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So we will look into the question. That's why I'm covering this thing. Some makeup terms are very attractive, but these are not the terms that we have studied. Okay. So when we'll do the real question, then I will explain you why I have given this thing, that only the things that are mentioned in the exam, in the standard, are covered in the exam. Stakeholder engagement plan contains detailed strategy for effective stakeholder engagement, includes engagement guidelines, provides insight into how the stakeholders are engaged in various components of the program. So it's giving you some information about the components also. Defines the metrics used to measure the performance of stakeholder engagement activities, include measures of participation in meetings and other communication channels, degree of active or passive support for the program, strive to measure the effectiveness of the engagement, provides critical information used in the development of program documentation and its ongoing alignment as a known stakeholder change. This everything is covered in the stakeholder engagement plan. Then we saw what is the actual engagement, continuous program activity, stakeholder register, map, and engagement plan. Whatever other three documents available with me are available to throughout when I will do the stakeholder engagement. It may require facilitated negotiation sessions to help establish the common high-level expectations. Program manager provides appropriate information contained in the charter. All interactions are logged. Thorough analysis of participation is done, and use of an issue log document. Like whenever today I asked everybody what question you want to discuss. So everybody gave me the feedback, and today we will discuss with everybody. So that was how the best example of the issue log we discussed last time also. An impact analysis is used to understand the urgency and probability of the stakeholder issues. Then we saw the communication. It is at the heart of the communication is the heart of the engagement. It is a vehicle for information sharing, negotiation, and collaboration. Strategy is crafted for each stakeholder as identified in the stakeholder register. Communication requirements, questions from all curious stakeholders should be captured, and decision-making stakeholders, who are the steering committee, program governance board, are provided with the adequate information at the right time. That was the key topic of the slides, and also the keywords what we have covered till now. And then if I go to the eco, then we identify the stakeholders, including sponsors, and create the stakeholder matrix in order to document their position relative to the program. In the slides, you would have seen there was one stakeholder register that was made. Stakeholder register has a name, roles, characteristics also. So in other words, I will say stakeholder matrix is a subset of stakeholder register. Okay, but because here he is asking only about their position, he's not talking about any characteristics, any their communication requirement, or any further thing. So that is a stakeholder register when in which I have all the characteristics of the stakeholders. But when he's talking only about the position related to the program, that is in the stakeholder matrix. Let me show you. Give me 1 minute. I will show you this stakeholder register. 1 minute. So I will continue with this thing, and then I will show you one table. So this is clear. Whenever stakeholder register is talking about, okay, please write it down. I will show you at the end. Okay. So stakeholder matrix is only to documenting the position. Then perform stakeholder analysis. After this, I will make the stakeholder engagement plan, because there is a first step. Identify the stakeholders, do analysis, then I make the plan. Then I negotiate the support of all stakeholders and acceptance criteria in order to align with the program objectives. As we seen, whatever I am doing should be aligned with the strategic objectives of my program. Generate and maintain visibility of the program and conform stakeholder support in order to achieve the program's strategic objectives. This is very important thing to understand. Why I need the support of the program? To achieve the program's strategic objectives. I don't need the support of the program to get the buy-in. For example, a makeup turn. Support or buy-in is the same thing. So I am every time I need to show the program status and maintain visibility to the stakeholders in order to get the support, so that I achieve my program strategic objective. That is the main task of having the stakeholders on board. define and maintain communications adapted to different stakeholders, including sponsors, in order to ensure their support for the program. Through continuous communication, I am getting their support. Evaluate the risks and incorporate them in the risk management plan. This is clear. Yes, Pradeep.
On task 5, I have a question. Like it
Yes.
said, maintain communication, adapted different stakeholder, including support for programs. So one of the document they use is stakeholder register also to communicate, right?
Yes.
And then communication management plan.
Yes.
So if both of them are available in the answer set, so what would be the best option?
If he is talking about what is the requirement of each stakeholder, that is a stakeholder register. Because in the stakeholder register, let me show you the example of stakeholder register. One moment. Okay, so in order to better explain this thing, let me show you the one example of stakeholder register that is covered in our premium slides. Okay, look at the stakeholder register. Name, stakeholder 1, stakeholder 2, stakeholder 3. This I have identified and I put in the stakeholder register. What is the organizational position? He is a director, he is a customer, he is a senior vice president. What is the role? In my program, he is a supplier, recipient, and sponsor. The map that he was talking about in the eco, identify stakeholders and create the stakeholder metrics in order to document their position relative to the program. Okay, it means in this task he is talking about only this first 2 or 3 columns. Agreed? Stakeholders, their position and role for my program. This is a stakeholder matrix, not stakeholder registered. What is talking in the eco. Clear to everyone? First topic is clear. Stakeholder matrix will only contain your stakeholders and their position relative to your program. Then continuing with the stakeholder register. What is the support level? It means I have analyzed them. He is neutral, he is supportive, and he is leading. Then I have gotten their influence. Power interest grid I have applied. He has low interest, medium influence, and high influence. Communication. What is the communication requirement? He needs email monthly. He need to have conference weekly, status report quarterly. This is the requirement of each stakeholder mentioned in the stakeholder register. And what are his other characteristics like a stakeholder map, interests, needs, and status engaged? All this detailed information is given in the stakeholder register. Clear? So at this stakeholder register, I know what is that, who is my stakeholder, what is his role, what is the influence, and what is the communication requirement. This is stakeholder register. Then when I go to the stakeholder engagement plan, they will tell me how I am going to engage them. That is the first, second step. Now is it clear to everyone? This covers around 3 or 4 questions from, if you remember, if you have the picture of this table in your mind. Okay. Stakeholder metrics, only stakeholder with the role and the position related to the program. Answer is the stakeholder metrics is more clear as compared to stakeholder register. Secondly, stakeholder register will contain everything detail about every stakeholder. And engagement plan will tell you how you are going to communicate with them. Clear to everyone? Any question in this task till now? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. In eco question, there was also a term stakeholder map. So is there any difference between stakeholder register, stakeholder matrix, and stakeholder map? No, in questions.
Yes,
Stakeholder map, I think the mechanism to analyze the stakeholder. What is the
yes.
current role and how to your desired role. It's just like analysis, just like you do a power interest grid.
Stakeholder actually
So
means
that is actually not any kind of document. That is just analysis.
Yes, that is analysis, I think.
it is an analysis, but at the end, in other words, I would say that once I will analyze the stakeholders, I will get to know their different characteristics that I can put on the stakeholder map, or I use stakeholder map to analyze this. It's the same thing. But that stakeholder map will only come after you have analyzed the stakeholders. If you will use power interest grid and if identified their requirements, what is the characteristics I can put on the stakeholder map. But the main
Yeah, I
important,
was I was also under the impression that there is no official stakeholder map document. It's just
no, it's a technique that is used, but in some from the understanding concept point of view, because now, sir, after we do the analysis, the only document that is remaining is updated stakeholder register. So that clarifies that whatever power interest grid I am using or I am doing stakeholder map, everything information will come to the stakeholder register. Okay, and in if I have used stakeholder map, I can use stakeholder map to analyze the stakeholders, or use stakeholder map. It means in a broader perspective that you are trying to analyze the stakeholders from different angles, not only stakeholder power and interest. Same meaning, you can put the stakeholders on the power interest grid. Okay, the best example is that, for example, I tell you to make the power interest grid. Okay, like this one. This is power interest grid, right? High
Yes,
power,
yes,
low power. So one step is to show here. In this quadrant is stakeholder, is sponsor. In this quadrant is customer. In this is program manager. This is project manager. Okay, but power interest grid itself is not the document that is showing you. You understood my meaning? All these statistics will be
yes,
mentioned in the stakeholder register. But for easy understanding, I
yes,
can say in the power interest grid, I am showing you the stakeholder statistics. Clear? So same is with the stakeholder map. It's a document like it's a stakeholder map. I will analyze the stakeholders using stakeholder map, which means different characteristics, their culture, language, influence, legal requirement, whatever is the thing. And then I will show their characteristics on the stakeholder register. Or in other terms, for easier, I can show you on the stakeholder map directly also, like this. Clear? Now it's clear to everyone?
yes, sir.
Same I can show on the power interest grid. Okay. And develop and foster relationships with stakeholders, including sponsors, in order to improve communication and enhance their support for the program. Here, the only thing is that sometimes this task will be confused with ethics question. You have to keep in mind the four ethical: respect, fairness, honesty, respect. If you say you that your sponsor is not coming to the meetings, what is the next step? What should you do? Number one is to develop and foster relationship. Other one would be to invite him to a personal dinner and give him the gift of $100,000, for example. So in that case, develop and foster relationship is a generalized term, and it doesn't mean directly to engage them personally and take something from them. Getting my point? So it means to develop the relationship with them, to have a common understanding, to get to know each other. This is develop and foster relationships, but don't take them to the dinner and take some gifts from them. Then this will be violation of the ethical point of view. Okay, clear?
See,
Any?
I have one more. I have
Yes,
one
yes,
question actually. There
yes.
is one question we faced in the mock examination.
Okay.
One of the stakeholder regularly he is not attending the meeting and
Hmm.
he is not responding any mail and he is
Okay.
not taking any phone call.
Hmm.
In this type of stakeholder, how we can foster the relationship?
In that case, first, if you have tried to do everything, then you will escalate to the steering committee. In the scenario, he will give a them, you have
Hmm.
tried everything and still it's not responding. You went to his office and still it was not responding. Then you will escalate to the program steering committee that this stakeholder I cannot manage. It's out of my thing. But if he's saying that you made a telephone call to him, he doesn't respond, what is the next step? The next step, you can go to his office, which means develop and foster relationship with the stakeholder.
Hmm. Okay.
If you have tried everything, you have tried to call him, meet him, but unless you're not able to meet him, you cannot develop the relationship with him, right? Cannot meet with
Okay.
him. So the scenario will tell you very clearly. If you have given everything from your side, escalate to the steering committee. But if still something is open, then you have to develop and foster relationship with the sponsors, with the stakeholders.
Okay.
Clear? So any comment from Amaya or Jay Prakash, because they are doing the mocks? Anything that we need to add? Then I will go to the questions.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. So let's start with the questions. First, let us do the question that I have shared, because this I got the feedback from two students. They are not clear on that. Question number 88.
Yeah, I think this is the same question what
They,
Jay Prakash was saying.
that's
And
what we discussed.
yeah,
They have neither attended meetings nor you have ever met them. What would be your approach to dealing with such a negative attitude stakeholders? Okay, so
B.
still a sorry
B.
B, call them and invite for dinner. Call them for dinner. If he would have said only call them and try to meet them, then it could be the option. But when he goes for invite for dinner, this is non-ethical thing. Okay, develop and foster relationships with the stakeholder, because still you have the opportunity there to go further and try them. He has not tell you that you have tried everything for them and still you're not able to develop relationship with them. Then in that case it will be the D, to report the issue to the stakeholder. Ignore them and do not contempt them. This is the never the correct answer. You cannot ignore any stakeholder, because if he is not attending to you, it doesn't mean that he cannot sabotage or stop your program. Okay, so never click on such option to ignore them, not listen to them, because ultimately he will come and stop your program. Okay, and report the issue to the program steering committee is not the first step once you have tried everything. So in this case B will be the correct option. This is also in task domain for task 7, and if you would have said that you have, then it will be D option, but here the correct answer is B. Clear, Mr. Pradeep?
yes. I chose D, so that's I think
Okay,
clear.
okay, good. 89. Why is it important to generate and maintain visibility for the program and confirm stakeholder support? They say A, achieve program benefits, because in stakeholder chapter, we're not talking about the benefits. First thing you have to keep in mind. Okay. Benefits, everything we initiated the program was to get the benefits. Achieve funding for the program, because he's not talking about the sponsor. Funding can only be given from the sponsor. Okay. Achieves program objectives, achieve stakeholders buy-in for the program. So, Mr. Pradeep, what was your option in this question?
I chose A because I was thinking, I didn't think that this question I will be able to identify whether it's benefit or stakeholder. It could be both, right?
Okay, agree.
When you attend exam. So when I do question, I never think that I'm doing for stakeholder
Okay, that
only.
is first thing, and the other indication here is that stakeholder support. Whenever we're talking about the stakeholder support, we have to make sure that the first step, even in the benefits management domain, we study that whenever you're trying to get the benefits, you have to make sure that all the benefits are strategically aligned and give me the value, right? That was my task in benefits delivery also. So whenever, the general principle is very difficult to identify, I agree. But when he's talking about program strategic objectives, alignment with your giving the benefits, you have 10 benefits, general thing. And stakeholders is concerned and is asking you to deliver only 2 benefits immediately. So in that case, you have to look into the benefit that will give you the highest value, right? Or prioritizing the benefits. Or in that other thing that is must ensure the strategic objective anyway. Understand? So benefits is always in the focus of our mind, but value delivery and strategic objectives is over that. Okay. So whenever we have to get the support for the stakeholders, we have to maintain and achieve program strategic objectives, whatever is the target and timeline for my program. Now is it clear?
This is part of eco, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is from eco.
Domain 4, task 4,
Okay.
89. Then we have 92. This was also coming from two students, Mr. Azim and Mr. Pradeep. 92. Yes. Now the topic that I explained you, that first we have to consider whether my stakeholder is at the component level or he is at the program level. That is the first thing in the stakeholder question you have to identify. If it is something only at the component level, then component or the project plans will be implemented on that. But if he is my program level stakeholder, the documents of the program level will be implemented on that. Documents what I have is program stakeholder engagement plan, business case, charter, program management plan, or benefits management plan. Okay. And secondly, when I told you that whenever you have the problem with the communicating in the stakeholders, either you go to the stakeholder register to see whether he is my stakeholder or not. That could be one of the option. And other option would be to first look into your stakeholder engagement plan, because keep in mind, first we have stakeholder register, then we analyze the stakeholder, then I made the stakeholder engagement plan. Okay, so if something, and then I am doing stakeholder engagement and communication based on the stakeholder engagement plan, right? So if something is not going fine in the engagement and management, first you have to come step by step back. First look into the engagement plan, is okay or not okay, why it is a problem. Then you go back to the stakeholder whether he is my stakeholder or not. Understood? Like yesterday we saw, we have to move forward. If when we are identify some problem, we have to move forward how we actually deliver and get my benefits. So same is the case if some engagement or communication is not working, first step be to look into the plan. Why it's not working? If still is okay, then you go back and see whether he's my stakeholder or not. Okay. So I need the options from all of you. Mr. Pradeep, Nasir Saab,
Yeah, I chose C.
okay. And Nasir Saab,
Yes, I also chose C.
Jay Prakash,
C.
C. You are a program manager for a multi-million dollar program which has three projects A, B, and C. During the program delivery phase, stakeholder complains to you that he did not receive a very important and critical information about project A. So who is your stakeholder is at the program level, right? And he is not getting the information from project A. What should you do to handle this situation? Add the issue to the program risk register. Jayaprakash, can I eliminate A?
Yeah, we can
Why?
eliminate A
Why?
because it is not a risk actually.
Yes, and even if it is a risk, first I have to look into the stakeholder domain. Not that it's a risk and I don't do anything. Okay,
Yeah,
B, review, am I, why not B? Review and update the program stakeholder register.
because he is telling critical information he did not receive that.
Yes,
So the stakeholder already in the register.
yes. So we
So
cannot
we
go
can
to the
eliminate.
stakeholder review. I cannot go back and see whether he's there or not there. I'm already
Yeah.
talking about that stakeholder is there. So stakeholder register is okay.
Mm.
Mr. Pradeep, why C? Review and update the component communication management plan.
So I thought, the project A is a component,
Yes.
and the communication strategy, whatever they use, plan may not be right. So we need to review first there and then understand why it didn't communicate. That's how I thought.
Okay. Nasir Saab, why C?
Yes, sir. The same reason that stakeholder is not getting information from project A.
Hmm.
So we have, I think there can be a problem in communication management plan for that component. So we will go with C.
And even if I have a okay, I agree. If I have a problem with component A communication management plan, I will fix it. But how are you sure
Yeah.
that your program stakeholder will get that information? Their component stakeholder will get the communication. I agree. That is your project level. So to give the information to the program level stakeholder, you need a program level document. How this component level will support to give you the information at the program level?
No,
This
then we'll take
Then,
it to
then
program level, right?
yes, then we have to review program level document. But as it written in the question, I thought it is component level.
no, the problem is in component. Okay, the issue is
Yes.
that your program stakeholder is not getting the information. Okay, so
Yes.
how you can feel and the critical information about project A is clear, but the problem is in your the problem is at your program level. Why he's not getting the information from that component? Okay,
Uh, I
wait.
mean, he should not be bothered about component. He should be bothered about program. If you are saying
Yes,
he's a program stakeholder,
yes. Okay, wait, Amaya, why D?
So over here we need to check the engagement plan and also the communication plan at the program level. And we also there might also be uh, chances like the stakeholder has never requested or there were some changes at the engagement level. So we need to check and review the stakeholder engagement plan.
Mr. Azim, because you have C and D. First, and now what is your opinion on that? Okay, I think he's busy. Okay, so let's during the program delivery phase means we are at the component level. Okay, we are working on the component. The delivery phase is written only to give you the indication that you are working on the components. Stakeholder complains to you that he did not receive a very important and critical information about project A. Okay, what should you do to handle this situation? We can have this discussion open. Okay, but from my perspective,
no,
I
that
would
stakeholder could be component level, could be program level. So there is
no.
nothing
No,
specifically said.
wait. We are not talking about the component level stakeholder. It's not interesting to me. We are in the PgMP domain. Under the component level, all the 10 activities are going on. Scope, procurement, everything is going on of the project at the component level. But for the question point of view, I don't need to care for that. Understand that you just said that whether it's a stakeholder at the component level or the project level. Surely it's a program level stakeholder. No question on that. The program manager will only be responsible to handle the program level stakeholders. If that stakeholder is only for his project manager will look into that. You don't need to take care for that. Okay, that's why the project manager he has to do all the things that we studied in PMP. Okay, and about what should you do to handle this situation? Review and update the component communication management plan. Okay, I understand from other point of view. Can program manager update the component communication management plan? Yes or no? What we saw in the last cycle, the component manager should restrict his responsibilities at the allocated level. He should never go down to the component level thing to look into the component level plans or to manage anything at the component level. This is the responsibility of the component managers. Remember, Nasrab, in the last domain, we have one very big
Yeah.
question. I will advise program manager to look at the allocated level and not go to the deep at the component level plan, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So if I go into the more detailed review and update the communication management plan, this is surely the program manager cannot update the communication management plan. Whereas stakeholder engagement plan, yes, he can review and update the stakeholder engagement plan. He can update all the documents at the program level. So, are you agree with this justification now? I will change the wording of the question, but from this perspective, the programmer cannot go down to the component level to update the plan.
Yeah, I think
So,
update is the word which is in the C. If you take out update, then that's possible. Program manager can review
Uh-huh.
component level,
Yes,
but he cannot update.
that is clear. Okay, so from this 100% from this wording, answer would be D. Okay, but from the other understanding, like we were having before, I will look into the question again how we can rephrase it. But the concept is clear, right? Think of the stakeholders at the program level. You are a program manager, you have to manage the problems at the program level, not at the component level. Whatever is going out at the component level, need to have the bird eye view over there, you need to have the governance over that, but the responsibility of handling the project level issues, coordinating, communicating with the project stakeholders is the responsibility of the component manager, the project or the project manager. Okay, and now coming to the back to the program level, I have stakeholder engagement plan, benefit management plan, business case charter, and the roadmap. I don't have the component communication management plan. If it was Mr. Azim, I was looking for you C and D. What was your conclusion now? We said that first is that in C is saying review and update the communication component management plan. We discussed in the last chapter, in the last class, the program manager should not go down to the component level to update any of the component level plan. This is one argument that we
Yeah, this
discussed
is
at the
what I
end.
thought initially, but at the program level, it's a D option.
At the program level, the C, you cannot go to the, you must not go to the component level to address this issue.
Yeah, but this question should be like better rephrased, that what
Okay.
should be done at the program level, something like that, instead of just
Okay, I said I will
should
change the
not be
wording.
open.
Okay, but the understanding is clear that all the stakeholders that is concerned that will come in your exam will be your program level stakeholders. And to handle and
Okay.
communicate with them, you need a document at the stakeholder at the program level, that is program stakeholder engagement plan. Another thing is that the component, the program manager should not go down to the component levels to update any of the plan. Okay, so we got three
Yeah.
information from this question, but I will better rephrase it. What should be done at the component level, program level to handle this situation. Okay, and now we have 93. This was a question from Mr. Pradeep. Okay. Mr. Pradeep and Nasir Saab.
Yeah, I went with customer,
Okay,
which is
B.
B.
Okay, so everybody understood the question. Within the above context, what should you do? You are a program manager for the development of a new IT technology. Now you are evaluating conflicting stakeholder demands associated with the program objectives. You found that the program team members have high interest in cost and schedule, but have low interest, and customer has this thing. Is it a agile project or a projectized thing? This is first thing I told you. In the program level, we have nothing to do about the customers or the component level thing or the agile concept. We have to look into my own program. Okay, now we read option A is eliminated. You cannot just follow your program team members. You should follow the customer organization to achieve the intended benefits. Why Pradeep B?
Yeah, I think we are focused very much on customer, and we are very much agile team. It's like
No,
safe.
okay, that is a IT thing, but in the program level thing, we are nothing about agile. Remember, in the stakeholder, we discussed the customer can influence the outcome of the success of the program, but the approval will be from the steering committee, right? So, and the most important word in stakeholder was negotiation. Negotiation meant you have to listen to them, discuss to them, and come to a common conclusion. You cannot split your team members. Okay, if you will if you will follow B, how you will convince your team members to work for the customers if they are not willing to do this?
No, no, no. What I was thinking is we should analyze benefit whether it can be achieved, but we cannot say that customer is not possible.
No, that is okay. So now look for D. You should balance the stakeholder needs by using negotiation among the stakeholder groups. So I know they have a different opinion. I will sit with them, I will discuss with them, and I will negotiate with them. You give something, he gives something, and ultimately we need to have a common acceptable acceptance criteria. Unless I don't come to the common conclusion or the acceptance criteria, a benefit realization criteria, I cannot conclude my program at the end of the day. Okay.
Yeah.
As per PMI tone, it's better, but balance, negotiation, these words are
Yes,
more
and
suited.
ultimately balance and negotiation means to come to the, we have to keep in mind the point of criteria, acceptance criteria, realization criteria, exit criteria. There you can only agree if you have all the stakeholders on board and there you have negotiated and talked to them.
Whenever there is a conflict, we can straight away select negotiation.
Yes,
This is my observation.
Yes, as per the PMI tone, negotiation is the
Yeah.
best thing, because in order to go with one party doesn't support unless you have all the people on board with you.
Now, in our programs, going to customer is a big deal. So
Sorry,
it's a real difference. In our programs, going to customer is a big deal.
if
So
it is an agile program, if it is agile only,
yeah,
but if you have,
yours is
yeah, if you have projectized organization, you never go to the customer. So also we have to keep in mind. Okay, so a very good discussion in PGMP. Don't consider anything about agile or hybrid mode. It's only completely projectized thing in which you are doing with a mutual consent of them. Once you have established the acceptance of risk criteria, you have to follow them, and then you have to negotiate with them and listen to all of them. Okay, so in this case, the correct answer would be D. Okay, 288. Now we come to today's new questions. You can see my screen. Question number 288. 288. Okay. What was the question? Your program faced a hard quality audit where the auditors created a long list of non-conformances that included some quality changes. Who is responsible for implementing all the required quality changes? So somebody gave C. Why A is not Nasida? Why A?
The program level changes, I think only program manager can do.
No, but he will not implement it by himself. He is responsible. Who is responsible for implementing all required changes? How he can implement all the changes by himself?
Yes,
That
actually,
if you have
yeah, I
if you found some problem in your code, the program manager will go there to write the code, or the design team or his team will do the required changes.
actually I miss implementation point of
Right.
view of
If
this
he
question.
who is
Yeah.
responsible to look into that, then can be a program manager, clear cut option.
Yes,
But if he
yes,
who is
yes.
responsible for implementing all required changes, program manager is not responsible.
Responsible, yes. For
Okay.
implementation, not responsible.
Yes. B, PMO is not responsible because he has only a supporting role. Mr. Azim, why C?
Because it has to be done at the component level, so project managers should arrange for these quality changes. They should raise CR or ask their teams to work.
Yes. But if it is to be implemented, not only agree at the component level, but in that thing, who is also coordinating with them? Program manager is also part of the team. When they are going to
Yes,
see, the component manager cannot do by himself alone. So what PMI
but
says, yes,
But quality is, I think, done at the component level, not at program level. We didn't hear any quality related, only inspection and all those QA, QC
Mhm.
was there in the definition and planning phase,
Okay.
delivery
Now,
phase.
that's why I opened this standard. Okay. Now read this yellow line. The you can see my PDF now.
Yes, the program management team is responsible for implementing all required quality changes.
Okay, and program what who are is the program management team as per the definition of PMI. I have written here because I knew this would be a
Everybody is there in project management.
yes. Program management
Program.
team is responsible for implementing the required quality changes. This is coming from chapter number 8 actually, but I put this question here so we have concept about the stakeholders. Program management team includes program manager, component managers, PMO, and team members. So when you have audited something, you found something to be improved, to be implemented in your program, in your quality things, or in your after the auditors, complete people are responsible to implement that, not only single person. So that correct answer is program management team, who includes program manager, component managers, PMO, and the team members. Clear to everyone?
Yeah, clear.
Good. $289. Read the options very carefully. Okay, there is one wrong option. The program manager should deal with the stakeholders using all of the following options except. So as we said that one is not good, one is not, one item is not good practice to do.
That engagement is better word instead of management. So C
Yes,
option is element
please.
is a wrong option.
Right. Nasir Saab, your option?
Yes, sir. I think C, because all other are understand stakeholder level influence, manage stakeholder expectation, and be aware of the impact are the
So
part of to deal with the stakeholder.
right. So I be aware of stakeholders impact, power interest grid, understand the level stakeholder level of influence is correct. Manage the stakeholder is not correct. Engaging the stakeholder is proper way. And manage the stakeholder expectations. I gave option number D also just to make sure that we when you're talking about managing expectations, requirements, then you can use the word of management. But once you're talking about the human people by themselves, as we discussed last time, it's better to engage them, communicate with them, talk to them, not only manage them like putting them from here to there. So here the wrong option, the correct, the answer is C, which the stakeholders project program manager should not do. So here in this question, the answer is C. Okay, 290. This is the thing out of the 6 items that we discussed just now in the master sheet. When you are doing stakeholder analysis and management plan, you have to consider in mind this following 3 options, 6 options. Which of the following stakeholder aspects are important for the stakeholder analysis and engagement planning? Number A, attitudes about the program and the sponsor. This is correct. Relevant phase or phases applicable to stakeholder specific engagement. Correct. The expectation of the program benefits delivery is also correct. So in this case, the correct option is D, which is giving you all the 3 correct options. So 290, the option is D. Everybody gave the correct answer, so I think this question is clear. 291. So this is one of the 4 projects. Okay, it's a type of mistake. His program consists one of the 4 projects is about to be transitioned. So option, everybody gave B, 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 B. Okay, let me show you something. Nasisa, please read this yellow highlighted text.
As the program components reach to end of their respective life cycle or as planned program level milestones are achieved, the program manager collaborates with the customer or sponsor to present a request to close or transition the component.
Continue reading.
So, okay, this formal request is sent to the program steering committee for review and approval.
So
The process of
wait, the approval will be done from the steering committee. This is clear. A lot of
yes,
people
sir.
have this option with the question. Whatever is with us coordinating with the sponsor and the customer, he will present a request to close or transition the component. So either he can collaborate with the sponsor or with the customer to request, say, okay, this is done.
Here
But
I have one
approval,
doubt. How
yeah, Jayaprakash, one thing. The formal request is final approval is from the steering committee. Okay, what he will do? Yes, Jayaprakash.
actually how sponsor or customer? Customer is the end user,
Yes.
right?
No,
How
end user cannot be a customer. Can be or cannot be.
okay, okay, accepted. But why it is mentioned sponsor or customer?
Okay.
Sponsor is different, customer is different, right?
So that's why he mentioned customer or either he has to go to the end. Okay. Let us see the scenario of this thing. As the program components reach the end of their respective life cycles or as planned program milestones are achieved. What does it mean? The component is ready to deliver the benefit. Everybody agree with the
Okay.
first line? The first line
Yes.
is indirectly telling you that the benefit is ready to be delivered on this component. Agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what the program manager should do? The program manager collaborates with the customer or sponsor to present a request to close or transition the component. Why the customer is coming? Because he will has to transition the benefits to operations. So in that case, the customer is there at the end. He will say, okay, this component is ready for delivery. He will tell to the, he's just discussing with the key stakeholders. Because whatever I am saying, the decision is to be made from the program steering committee. This is no question. The point here is that program manager himself can do something, but he needs somebody to discuss and communicate and coordinate with them also. So in this case, he is saying he should collaborate with the customer, means at the end of the stakeholder or to the sponsor. The best answer, generalized answer would be the program manager should collaborate with key stakeholders to present a request to close or transition the component. He makes a proposal and then he presents to the steering committee for approval. Yes, Amaya?
Can you go to eco, please?
Yes. Which?
Or the highlighted this thing.
Yes. Which domain, which task?
Okay. Oh, secure resources was the responsibility of program sponsor.
Yes, yes. Uh, this one,
Can we go
task 5. Task 5? No.
in order to ensure the support for the program?
But the resources is the responsibility of the sponsor, no doubt about that. But here we are not talking about the resources. Here we are talking about he has to present a case that these components are ready to be delivered. Benefits are ready to be delivered, so he can collaborate with the sponsor or the customer. Means he has to in general he has to communicate with the collaborate with the key stakeholders in order to present the case.
I think here he needs to get the acceptance done. This is talking about acceptance.
No, but
So in
acceptance will
that
come
case,
from the steering committee.
Can we go to question, please,
no,
once more?
Yes, question. I think he is asking about resources.
yes, resources also.
Yes, resources. With
Agree
whom
and
should
secure resources. So
Secure resources to undertake the component transition activities. So if
transition
this is
activity.
resources, I think then we can go with program sponsor.
wait,
Yeah,
whom
but this
should
is
we?
from the book. In the
Like,
book is customer
yeah.
or sponsor.
So the sponsor is not wrong. I'm not saying customer sponsor is wrong.
No.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Thought Shad.
I agree. I agree because there are. Please understand that there are a lot of things that we are bound to follow from PMI. Okay, they have a
Yes.
standard book. They have an exam content outline. Everybody will have different point of thinking, different sorts of thinking. Okay, but that is a guiding document. Okay, so why I took this standard with me today. I never showed you in the previous class. Okay, because I knew that based on
Yes.
these questions there will be different opinions and different options. Okay, so that's what I'm telling you, that if somebody wants only 1 or 2 questions, I have, that's why in the whole standard I read it before, and I have highlighted only a few lines which are confusing from the mocks, because there was a lot of discussion in the previous coaching calls, and ultimately I found this only option to show this, that from where this line is coming. Okay, so sponsor is not the wrong option, but more clear or more detailed is customer or the sponsor. In the real exam, there is a probability that few questions can come which are so near to each other, because in normally you should be, but in general we have to be ready for this type of questions which is coming directly from the standard. Yes, Jayaprakash.
Can you just show the question again?
Yes.
Suppose here the last line, with whom should Raju collaborate to undertake the common transition activities? In that this case also customer or program sponsor is right answer, right?
Repeat what you said. Collaborate to get what?
The last line I am reading.
Yes,
With
yes.
whom, with
Hmm.
whom should Raju collaborate to undertake the common transition activities? It means
Yes,
to agree and secure resources is missing.
again,
Okay.
customer and sponsor. Because
Again, customer and
you
sponsor,
know
right?
the point here is just let me explain. The key point here is collaboration. Is it the program
Okay.
manager has to collaborate with all the key stakeholders.
Okay, right. Confirm. But my doubt is here, the question itself it is asking with whom should Raju collaborate? Okay, this is the keyword.
Yes.
Collaborate to agree and secure resources. Why he has to agree and what is the need of securing the resources in this case?
Here, securing means that if I am going to transition something to operations, somebody has to be there to take care of that. I cannot just go there and throw the this is my benefits. You should know to
No,
whom
no,
you are going to hand over. That's why here to
no, correct.
secure.
Handing over understood. But here, what is the meaning of secure resources? How it is playing in this scenario?
Okay, because you have to do component transition activity. You have to read
Okay.
the full and to undertake the component transition activity. Transition we saw is to be transition to operations, in which we have to ensure that it is continued, it is review the documentation. We have to do transition activities, training manuals, O&M manuals, something like that, right? So whenever you have to
Mhm.
transition something to the operations, So there should be somebody, the resources will be there that will take over something from you. So here we are not talking about a general activity. We are talking about specifically for component transition activity. So for transitioning to something, I should have somebody on the other end also to take over the material from me. That's why he's talking about skewering, and skewering actually means to knowing to whom I have to give somebody from something to the to the organization thing or the customer point of view. This is the meaning of resources.
Okay, right.
Okay. Okay. 292. So this is a very detailed question. Review the answers, review the complete statement of the answer, and then best thing is to use the elimination technique. Okay, these type of questions surely will come in the exam. 10 to 15 questions, very detailed, very lengthy, and the best approach to do this question is to use elimination technique. Why this option is not possible? Okay, so I will start reading the question because it's a detail. What is your best advice to him? Anika is managing a program. During his work in the delivery phase, he started to review more details regarding the program components with his team. Unfortunately, he discovered that one of the program components has more scope than planned, which will affect the integration with two other components. He was angry with the component manager and come to you for the advice. Okay, A. I will advise him to go back to the planning subphase to review all component planning activities before continuing to the delivery phase. Pradeep, why not A? Can we eliminate A?
It's possible. I would not ignore at this point here.
But why you want to go back to the planning phase? You are already in the delivery phase. Why you want to go back? I will advise him to go back to the planning phase. Forget your
Oh yeah,
delivery phase.
yeah. I don't think we can go back to
Yes.
planning. Yeah.
So why we will eliminate A? Because you should not go back. Whatever you have to
Yes.
do, you have to do something in the program delivery phase. If I go back, then what will happen with all other components? Clear? If I am in the
Yes.
program delivery phase, I will not go back in the delivery phase, or in every phase I have the privilege to update all the document that was in the program definition phase, right? I can update my business case, I can update my charter, I can update my roadmap. So why I should physically jump and go back to the planning subphase? Okay, so A is eliminated. Clear to everyone? A is eliminated because I cannot go back to the planning subphase. Okay, uh, B we come later. D. I will advise him to ignore this change as it is a mistake of the component manager. Nasir sir, D can I eliminate?
Yes, sir, we can
Why?
eliminate.
Why?
We cannot ignore this change, which
Yes,
is actually causing the integration problem.
yes. Whatever is the problem, I cannot ignore blindly. So A is
Yes.
eliminated, D is eliminated. Now I am remaining with B and C. C, I will tell him that he needs to continually oversee the components throughout the delivery phase. So this is common in B and C. First line is common. And collect pitfalls to be escalated to the steering committee. Why not C, Amaya? Why not C?
So this is a good option,
Mhm.
but if we go with replan for the proper integration, it will also include resource interdependency management.
Yes.
So we can align the resources and replan the schedule.
And
to
uh,
accommodate.
and other thing is that if you go for B, replan for their proper integration or realign to accommodate the change. This is actually what program manager is bound to do. He is responsible to do something, and if he is not able to do that, only he will escalate to the steering committee. So B is the first step. C may be required in the later step once B is not working. This is first indication. Number two indication is that program we saw is uncertain. A lot of change requests will come. Everything, a lot of things has to be updated during the whole of the program because we have uncertainty in that. So in this case, the best option is B, which is I will tell him to continue oversee the component throughout the delivery phase. It means he has to remain in the delivery phase. That's the first point that I will advise him. Replan for their proper integration, because managing the integration among the components is the only task of the program manager what he is doing in the delivery phase, because every component level activity is done by the component manager. Program manager is not going at the component level, only he has to integrate and realign to accommodate changing whatever he can manage under the delivery phase. He has the power, he has the authority to do it. Once it will not work, then only he will go to C. So in this case, correct answer is B. Clear to everyone? So very important concept to understand. It covers a lot of questions. Okay. 293. This is among the same question they we did 3 questions before. Okay. There we did 3 questions before. In which the
Yeah, in the mark.
option was in which the option was all of the above. And this was the same
Yes.
question that Mr. Pradeep asked me in the white. Okay. So that's why I put it here for the discussion. One of the purposes of the stakeholder analysis is to identify how the program will impact stakeholders in areas such as Mr. Pradeep, what was your answer before?
Yeah, I chose A and then
Okay.
realized later that legal policies is
Yes.
just
Yeah.
So
made up word.
in option number A, B, and D, the first part is correct. Attitudes about program and its sponsor is correct. Degree of support or opposition to the program benefits is correct. Expectation of benefits delivery is correct. But the problem is in the second part. Here he has legal policies which I am not reviewing in the stakeholder analysis. Management of operations is a makeup term, and corporate governance is also the makeup term. Only C has both things, which is I am covering organizational culture and acceptance of change. So in this case, the correct answer is only C. Just look out for these questions around plus minus 5 questions about this thing, in which is just require very detailed theoretical aspect. Okay, this is like a very detailed theoretical aspects. Surely some question will come, but just look out for that. And in these things, please look at the detailed options, like comma legal policy is a makeup term. If it was only no legal, no management, no corporate, will be all of the above. But all this question was correct. He added just one and one option just to select only one of the correct options. So in this case, the correct answer is C. And last question for today. We should have a discussion on this question because it's very important to understand. The key word here is the communication channel. And as I described before, n into n minus 1 by 2. So he is looking for 3 important communication channels. He is not
So
looking
it
for
should be some.
three.
It
Sorry.
should be some person like individual.
Yes, he is not looking for 3 important or key stakeholders with whom you have to communicate. Well, this is only the
Like
wording of the question. If he is writing that the 3 important stakeholders that the program
Then I
manager
think
should communicate
all
is
of the
something.
above.
Yes,
All of the above then.
all of the above, or that means the context of the question is different in that way, because he has to surely communicate with everyone. But if I'm looking only for three important communication channels, it means I need some quantitative measure. And quantitative measure can only come from the formula n into n minus 1 by 2. If I have three
Right.
stakeholders, 3 to the 6 by 2 is three communication channels. If I have something more as an entity which doesn't have surely one component, then I will not have one communication channel with that stakeholder.
Like it should be some individual. Now, governance board can have multiple members.
Yes.
The steering committee can have multiple. Only option A is like individual.
Or you have to see another thing also. Okay, is the question clear to everyone? Then we will discuss one by one. An important task of the program manager is to engage and communicate with all the stakeholders of his program. This is a generalized statement. Agreed. The three important communication channels for the program manager in the program are, it means I'm looking for three individual persons. It means I'm looking for three individual persons who are very important for my program. Okay. Number A, client is one, sponsor and component manager is possible. A is possible. Okay. Mr. Azim, why not B? Client, stakeholders, component manager. What is the problem here?
Stakeholder. Everybody is stakeholder. So
Yes, so there is no specific criteria how many stakeholders I am talking about. It's a very generalized word. So B is eliminated because of the stakeholder point. Uh, D, Maya, why not D? Client, sponsor, governance board. What is the problem here?
So on governance board, so it can be just a couple of board members who will be present in the governance board. So it's a good option, but it doesn't talk about uh f- if we are governing like if we need to communicate it to just to governance body.
Okay, and one more reason. Please understand here. Program manager is at the middle of the program, right? In the stakeholder engagement domain. Mr. Pradeep, remember? In the circle we have on the top, he has portfolio manager, steering committee, and the governance board. Under him is the component managers and the program team members, right? So in option number D, he's only talking about his top people. Where is the component manager
Mm.
here?
Yes.
Agree? The detailed discussion, I agree. But here first we have to use elimination technique, which is surely not possible. Okay, so important communication channel is that program manager should talk to his above peers and also to his bottom peer. If he will not be communicating with the component managers, how he can manage, how he can get the benefits of the program? Understand? Even the question is not covering this domain, but I am explaining the context of the question to be very clear. Whenever you have to communicate with the stakeholders, not only look for the above peer stakeholders, also look for the bottom stakeholders. So first I will eliminate B, because stakeholders, as Mr. Azim said, is very general. Okay, this is not specific thing. And D I will eliminate out of this, because he is not talking about the component manager. He's talking about the top peers of the stakeholders, client, sponsor, and the governance board. Now I am remained with A and C. Mr. Pradeep, why C?
C contains steering committee. So steering committee might have multiple people.
Yes. So steering committee and the governance board is the same thing. Head, state client, steering committee, and the component manager, and client, sponsor, and component manager. This has the competition A or C. I will personally go with A in this case, because sponsor is more specific, and I am 100% sure that this will be a single person. So I will have three important communication channels, which is one to one, n into n minus 1 by 2. On the other hand, if in case A was not the option, if in case A was not the option, then I will go with C, which is client, steering committee members, or the head of steering committee, or the component manager. If I have to differentiate, for example, just the point of discussion, because this is last question, we can just have a better discussion. If I have to select, if you say A and B are not there, and I have to go with C or D, what will you prefer? Client, steering committee, component manager, client, sponsor, and the steering committee. Instead of governance board, I can have the same steering committee. So client and steering committee is there. Client and steering committee is common. If I have to differentiate between component manager or the sponsor, Mr. Azim, with whom you will go? Component manager or the sponsor? in that case?
Component manager, because bottom pair is also needed.
Bottom pair, and also maybe sponsor is already the part of the governance board or the steering committee.
Yes.
So this is
Yes.
then this will be the duplication of the role. Anybody with another justification or want to add in this question, because this is a very important question to understand, and this was coming from Mr. Pradeep. I really appreciate this feedback. Right, this was the question.
No, I actually misunderstood this whole question because I never thought they are asking for three individual people.
Okay, okay. And what was
Point
your
So
noted.
option?
one
What was your option in that case?
So I was going with steering committee, or I was confused between last C and D.
Okay, okay. Yes, Amir.
one more point is like there may be a chances wherein there will be multiple steering committees.
Yes,
So
yes.
for
There can be
example,
option. We
yeah,
can think. Yes, please continue.
for example, there will be an internal steering committee, and if the program is somehow communicating with the government or regulatories and authorities, so there will be some different steering committees. So over here, it's
Yes,
better
that is
the
also one
better
of the
option.
reason. There's also very good explanation, but in general, just keep in mind whenever he's talking about communication channels, he needs a quantitative measure. Number one, whenever he is talking about communicating with the stakeholders, please try to find a best option that covers above stakeholder and also the below peer stakeholder. Means sponsor steering committees at the top of the program manager, and component manager team members are at the bottom of the communication channels. This is very important to understand. Not only he has to communicate with the top the above peer stakeholders. So in this case, the best answer is A, client, sponsor, and the component manager. B is eliminated, D is eliminated, and C is the second best option, client, steering committee, and the component managers. If in general he would say that who are the three most important stakeholders to whom program manager should communicate with, or who has the highest frequency of communication with the which of the following two stakeholders have the highest mode of communication or highest probability frequency of communication, then what will be the correct answer? Two stakeholders with whom program manager is communicating most often. Mr. Pradeep, one by one. In general, not of this, general question. What you feel in the program will be the two stakeholders with whom the program manager will be communicating most often.
Steering committee and component manager.
Okay. Amaya, your two options with whom program manager will be communicating most often.
Component managers and steering committee or governance body.
Okay. Mr. Azim,
Yes, same steering committee and component managers.
Jayaprakash,
Same component manager and steering committee.
Nasir Saab.
Yes, sir. Component manager and steering committee.
Excellent. This is a very good understanding from all of you, because whatever the work is being done on the program is by the component managers, because they will give me they are responsible to give me the benefits from each of the component. So component manager will be the person to whom program manager is overseeing and communicating with him. And second is the steering committee, because whenever he needs the approval, whenever he needs a phase gate review, whenever he needs a go no go decision, whenever he has any problem, he has to escalate something, he will go to the steering committee. Okay, so that is the most important thing in this task. So any question in today's coaching call about the stakeholders?
So are
Sir,
we
I have one
assuming that
question.
steering committee will have sponsor or not?
Yes, as I told you, 90% sponsor will be member of the steering committee, but this is not a must that he must be there. He can be separate, he can appoint his people with there, but it's not a mandatory that sponsor must be in the steering committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Nasir Saab?
Yeah. Sir, I want to know about champion of change for organization and for program. Is this the same one, or there will be different?
At the organization level, the champion of the change is not a program manager, because at the organization is portfolio people, other people. For your program, champion of change is the program manager, which means that he is a person who is looking for the change request, who is initiating the change request and escalating to the steering committee. That's why we tell him as a champion of the change. Whatever change has to be needed, he will foresee it. based on the periodic health checks he has to do, he will initiate this thing. That's why he's the champion of change. But at the organization level, program manager, I will not be there.
Okay, but I think yesterday, Eco, there was a question for champion of change for the organization.
Okay, and what was the answer? Program manager
answer
is
was a program sponsor. Yes. Yeah, programs, organization level program sponsor.
yes. So I said that because in your domain, concluding the today's call, the life cycle of the component manager is in my program delivery phase. This is not clear to everyone, right?
Yeah.
And the life cycle of the program manager is only that red lines that I have shown you, starting from program definition phase till the program closure phase. This is the life cycle of the program manager. Whatever goes at the organization level, program manager doesn't know anything about that. Is this concept clear? It makes more easy sense. If you're talking about the organization level thing, whatever will be there, somebody XYZ is taking care of that, but not the responsibility of the program manager. Same is whatever is going in the benefits statement. After the program is finished, program manager is not responsible. Can be some XYZ person. Clear? So same, whatever is going out at the organization level, somebody else has to take care of that. Program manager cannot be the answer in that case. Clear to everyone?
So it means the champion of the change is the program manager,
Yes, in my program.
and yeah, champion is sponsor, right?
Champion of a program is a sponsor. Champion of a program is a sponsor. Champion of change in the program is a program manager. Champion of change in the organization level, whatever is going out is somebody else. Like Mr. Nasir can be sponsor or anything, but not the program manager.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much for attending this call. It was a very detailed session, and we see you in the next call. Thank you very much.